Hello everyone, and welcome to today's amazing session. Welcome. It's gonna be an amazing evening today. And today we're talking about something quite important, and that's the three focus skills that every child needs before secondary school. This is our first time of doing this in the evening, and I hope that this has more impact. I'm super excited and super stoked to be here. If you are here, just let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat that you are here with us. Okay? Let me know. All right. So we're going to be talking about the three focus skills that every child needs before you get into secondary school. All right. Welcome to the 10 Morning Show. If this is the first time that you're joining us, my name is Chris. You said morning show, but when I don't turn on to evening show because we are doing this by 8:30 p.m. live, and we want to talk about exactly this is the last episode of when we're concluding what we're talking about all through the past few weeks, and it's the most important one. And I say this for a lot of parents who have children who are young and they want to give them the right head start. Okay, I want to be really clear about this. I'm not talking about subjects. I'm not talking about math or English or science. I'm talking about knowledge. I'm talking about skills. I'm talking about executive function. Okay, I'm talking about the ability to focus, to manage transitions, and control their impulses. Okay, and that's exactly what we are talking about today. And so if your child has these three skills, if your child has these three skills solidly built by the time they enter secondary school, then they can handle whatever is thrown at them. Okay, they can handle whatever is thrown at them. Now they might struggle with content too, but they will have the tools to manage their own learning. All right. But if they don't have these skills, then they will struggle no matter what. And by the time secondary school is over, the gap will be so huge. It will be so huge. And this is why this matters so much. Okay. So the first skill that they need is sustained attention. Sustained attention, the ability to stay on one task for an appropriate amount of time without someone externally prompting you to stay focused, without reminders, without someone saying stay on task. The child just does it. I want to be realistic here. Okay, I want to be realistic here. You see, a 9-year-old should not be expected to focus for 5 minutes straight. That is not developmentally appropriate, right? It doesn't work that way. But they should be able to focus for 15 minutes on something that doesn't interest them. 15 minutes of math homework without getting distracted. 15 minutes of reading a passage, even though they would rather play. That's the benchmark. Okay, that's the benchmark. So a child without sustained attention will start work, get distracted, stop, do something else, and remember they were working before they start again and get distracted again. And so the work takes forever. That frustration is very high. And so by secondary school, there's so much work that a child without sustained attention just gives up. So how do you exactly build this? How do you do this for your child? You start with what we call timed practice. 5 minutes of focused work, then 10 minutes, then 15. The child learns through experience, through proof that they can do it. And then you also remove distractions. Are you following, guys? Are you following? Right? So you don't build focus in a room full of temptation. It's better that you remove all forms of distraction than try to teach your child to focus despite distractions. It is better that you eliminate the chances that they are going to be distracted rather than much to see if they can withstand the pressure of getting distracted. If fools around. Okay? So you want to build in something, you want to build in an environment that is controlled. and then gradually now increase the difficulty. So the second point is what I call task switching. So it's the ability to finish one thing mentally and mentally close it, and then you start something else. This sounds simple, but it's not. Many kids, they get stuck on transitions. They get stuck on transitions. So they finish math homework and they are thinking about math. Then they're supposed to switch to English, but their brain is still on math. Some children actually have what we call emotional meltdowns during transitions because the shift is hard for their brain, right? Other kids procrastinate because the thought of switching to a new task or to a new environment feels hard. This is something that can even follow them up to adulthood, and it happens. We see it in our own lives because sometimes you think about the work you have to do, and you're like, please let me stay where I am. All right. And so, even though each one is manageable, even though it's easy, the idea of switching them, it feels overwhelming. So, they avoid starting it. Because now the thing is, in secondary school, the child is switching tasks all day. There's no teachers who are pampering them. Each class is a different subject, there's different expectations, there's different materials, there's different teachers, and a child without good task switching skills will feel constantly, disoriented, always adjusting, always behind because the adjustment is taking so much mental energy. So, how do you build this exactly? You practice. Okay, I think we are back. For some reason, we went off for a bit. So I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, I think we are back. For some reason. All right. So, as I was saying, we're talking about task switching. Yeah, we're talking about task switching. And what typically happens is, kids, like I was saying, kids who cannot stay on task, they will easily get stuck, or they will melt down, right? They will melt down during sessions or anything that has to do, because they are not prepared. They are not prepared for that, right? And so the third point is what I call impulse control. Is what I call impulse control. So, what is impulse control? Impulse control simply means resisting the immediate distraction and staying with the task. Wow, somebody's watching us all the way from Jalingo. Interesting, right? It's the ability to resist the immediate distraction and stay with the task you're supposed to be doing. To hear noise and not look up, to feel bored and not stop the work. Many people think that impulse control is about willpower, about saying no to yourself, but that's actually exhausting. All right, that's actually exhausting because it is about practice. It's about practice and the environment design, right? That's what it's about. And so you want to design the space where this happens. And the way it works is that you practice it in small doses. You work for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and then your brain gets used to, resisting distraction. It gets easier. And then you design the environment so there is less to resist. If you knew that, oh, this child doesn't focus when there's a lot of noise, then you create a study zone that is void of noise, right? So that you don't fight against your child's environment. Because by secondary school, there are so many distractions. There are phones, friends, interesting things happening outside. A child without impulse control will get pulled in 100 directions. And so without these skills, your children will get overwhelmed, they'll fall behind, and their confidence will collapse. But if they have these 3 skills that I just mentioned, then you're going to start seeing that they're able to handle transition, they'll be able to keep up, they'll be able to be confident. Okay? And so, one of the things I hear a lot of stuff, in my experience with a lot of parents, and I watched 2 children enter secondary school. Both were intelligent. They went to the same school, but one had these 3 skills. All right, but whereas the other child could not manage the workload. So the one that had the skills was able to manage all those workloads without breaking down. And so he went from strength to strength, whereas the other child couldn't focus for more than 5 minutes. He would get dysregulated and he would get pulled into distractions constantly. And by the end of year, that first child had good grades and felt capable, whereas the second child was failing, had given up, and believed that this thing is hard, though. And the parents were kept thinking, what is going on? Is it not the same boy that was smart, that has been smart? The only difference was that he didn't have these 3 skills. And so when immediately he was exposed to that world, everything fell apart. And so if you have a child who is heading to secondary school in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months, right? I want you to think about this. Have you started training your children on these skills? Because by tomorrow, we're going to start talking about exactly how to build this. So rejoice. Okay, step by step, the system for building focus. And I have something important lined up. I have something amazing lined up for you guys. So make sure that you don't miss it. That you guys are here are going to be the first people to hear about it, and you don't want to miss it. Okay. So thank you so much. Congratulations for staying to the end. If this helped you, then of course make sure you subscribe. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you meet us here again tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. You see, everything changes when you understand how to actually build focus. Focus is the number one problem that parents have, and when you realize how to solve it, you become the 1% of the 1%. I hope I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening, and God bless you.